to China.
Mr. Ravinder Sachdev, with that, I would like to thank you for joining us today and sharing that insight. Unfortunately, we're running out of time for that discussion, but now we move on to Middle East again. Israeli forces have carried out their deadliest operation in southern Syria since Bashar al-Assad's fall nearly a year ago, killing 13 people, including women and children. The Israeli military says the raid targeted terrorists from Lebanon's Jamaah Islamiyah group in the village of Beit Jin. 6 Israeli soldiers were wounded, 3 seriously wounded, during an exchange of fire as troops attempted to detain suspected fighters. Syria responded to the strikes, have called on the operation a war crime, and Syrian Foreign Ministry in a statement has stated that such acts aim to ignite the region in conflict. Meanwhile, on the ground, residents have described walking at dawn to gunfire and later heavy shelling from Israeli artillery and drones. Dozens of families fled the village as several people remain trapped under the rubble. A local official says Israeli forces tried to capture 3 men, sparking hours of clashes. Israel has launched hundreds of strikes in Syria since Islamist factions took control after Assad's fall in December. Tensions remain high as both nations continue talks pushed by Washington, though Syria insists it will not be joining the Abraham Accords. Now for this discussion, we welcome back Mohammed Osman. He's an international relations expert, joins us live from Cairo. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed, for staying with us. Now looking at this, how might Israel's increasingly aggressive operations in Syria affect fragile post-Assad power and the current government, particularly in areas that are allegedly controlled by the Islamist factions?
Well, what we have witnessed in Syria today, of course, is not an isolated incident. It comes within a very long trend of Israeli violations of Syrian sovereignty that even precede the fall of the Assad regime and the rise of this new Islamist governmental regime in Syria. Israel has carried out numerous airstrikes against Syria during the years of Assad. And after the fall of the Assad regime, Israel expanded its aggression against Syria, taking advantage of the power vacuum and the collapse of the state in order to carry out massive airstrikes at the initial phase of the fall of the regime to destroy the entirety of the military infrastructure of the Syrian state. And afterwards, they carried out incursions into Syria, capturing more land, in addition, of course, to the occupied Golan Heights, which has been occupied since 1967. They captured about 1,000 square kilometers of more Syrian territory that is now acting as a buffer zone. And beyond this buffer zone, they carry out other incursions into towns and villages in southern Syria, and they go as far as the countryside of the capital, Damascus. And this is where the sad events of this morning have transpired, in the village of Beit Jin in the Damascus countryside. However, this time the people just grew tired of Israel's incessant violations, because they always enter into these villages, raid them, and arrest people. This time the people in the village decided to resist the Israeli onslaught, and they actually carried out an ambush, destroying one of Israel's military armored vehicles and injuring about 6 Israeli officers and soldiers. Of course, Israel answered or responded with brute force. They carried out massive airstrikes against the village. They killed about 15 civilians. Tens of the houses or scores of houses were destroyed, and numerous people were arrested as well during the Israeli raids. And now people are fleeing
Mr. Mohammed,
the village.
Mr. Mohammed, yes, unfortunately, we're running out of time for this discussion, but thank you very much for joining